guys, this is going to be a compilation video of some of my favorite Studio Ghibli things, including places that you can visit in real life from some of the movies. But first, I want to say thank you to Skillshare, who is sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community filled with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. Some of the class topics include painting with watercolors, kawaii drawing, brush lettering, and how to grow your Instagram and TikTok following. I recently took a class on gouache painting with Angela Mackay, and in this class we learned how to draw florals and botanicals and how to make a pattern using gouache paint combined with Photoshop. It was really interesting. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes, so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description box will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. The first place is the Sayama Hills, just outside of Tokyo, Japan. And this is maybe a 2-hour trek from central Tokyo, but you can visit this 100-year-old house that allegedly inspired some of the scenes from the movie My Neighbor Totoro. Like a lot of traditional houses in Japan, there's a tatami room, and you can actually sit next to this giant model of Totoro, although I think in real life he would probably be much bigger than that, but I thought this whole thing was just all very cute. So I actually found out that there's another Totoro house near Nagoya, Japan, which is an actual model of the house from that movie. And so you can go inside and it looks very much like the house, but this is not that house. It's something that inspired the people who animated the movie, and it's run by the Totoro Fund, which is a foundation that aims to preserve the surrounding natural habitat. So there are places nearby where you can go on hikes, and it's very reminiscent of the forest in that movie. And you can buy things from the gift shop, which help to support the Totoro Fund. A lot of them are handmade with wood from the surrounding area. You can take public transportation here, but it's probably going to be a trek, so I definitely recommend renting a car and driving here if you can. When I visited with my family, I decided to go all out, and I packed a Totoro themed bento, and I made it with rice and black sesame seeds and cheese and seaweed for the eyes. So this was really fun for us. I don't think that I've made this type of bento since then, but let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in seeing a tutorial on how to make this. Next up, we have the infamous cat bus, and this cat bus was actually located in Korea. It's at iPark Mall in the bookstore area, and there's also another one at Chamshu, I think, but this is a replica of the cat bus. I mean, how fun is that? It was just next to the Studio Ghibli store, and you can go inside and take photos, and a lot of times when we went, there were no people in line to get on or anything. It's just always there year round, so it's really fun. And compare this to the cat bus in Japan. I visited this exhibition at Mori Tower in Tokyo, and everyone had to wait in line. I think we waited about 15 minutes to get on the cat bus with like a whole bunch of other people. They were probably letting in about 30 people at the time, and then we had 5 minutes total to get on the cat bus and take photos, but it really was not that great, and it was really kind of hard to enjoy just because there were so many people there. But that is just part of visiting Japan. There's so many people in Japan, and it seems like there are lines for everything, and people are very orderly, but there's still just a lot of people. The only thing about the cat bus in Japan was that it was a little bit bigger and there were actually seats inside, so it was kind of cool how you could sit down, whereas at the cat bus in Seoul there were no seats whatsoever. There is also a cat bus at the Ghibli Museum in Mitaka, but if I recall correctly, they were only allowing kids to go on. Next up, we have Shirohige's Cream Puff, and this is a adorable little Studio Ghibli themed cafe in Shimokitazawa, Japan, which is it's part of Tokyo, so you don't have to go far if you're visiting Tokyo. It's a little bit hard to find. It's kind of in a residential neighborhood, but I definitely recommend visiting if you have the chance. They have these adorable Totoro cream puffs, and the different flavors are designated by a little mini chocolate on the top. So I had a green leaf, which was the custard, and then I think banana cream, which had an orange hat, and it's so delicious. Like everything in Japan, I believe they do have seasonal flavors, so they probably change from time to time. And the cafe is actually really tiny. There's only a few tables, and there's also a terrace outside if you're there during the good weather. But downstairs they have a bakery which has all kinds of Totoro themed desserts and cookies, and you can even take your cream puffs to go if you end up going and they don't have a seat available. I thought it was really fun to look around the bakery. I think that some of those cookies would make a great souvenir to bring home to your friends. And they had all these cute things like dishes and plates and little figurines. I even saw some needle felted pieces. And then I think that during Christmas they have a Totoro themed Christmas cake. So yeah, this is just such a cute bakery. I have some more Totoro things coming, but let's move on to the next movie, Spirited Away. And in Taiwan, maybe an hour and a half outside of Taipei, you can visit this town called Jufen, which allegedly inspired some scenes from the movie. However, Mr. Miyazaki has denied that this town inspired the movie. He said that it wasn't inspired by one place, but just it was a product of his imagination. However, if you look at the streets of Jufen, it's very reminiscent of the movie, and it has these narrow streets that are lined with red lanterns and lots of food stalls. It's a lot more crowded than the scenes from the movie, but it is somewhat reminiscent of that town. And the locals have definitely tried to capitalize on the claim that this inspired Spirited Away by selling lots of No Face and other Spirited Away merchandise. I'm pretty sure that most of it is not licensed though, so if you want real Spirited Away stuff, you have to go to the Donguri Republic store, and I don't know where they have one in Taiwan, but they have a few locations in both Japan and Korea. This is the Anme Tea House, and it's probably one of the locations in Jufen that's most reminiscent of the movie Spirited Away. However, with all these people, it's kind of hard to see it. If I could do it all over again, I'd probably stay overnight at a local hotel so I could get up early and enjoy the town without all of these crowds of people. Next up, we have a restaurant in Seoul, Korea, and this is located in Sangsu, which is kind of off of Hongdae, which is like a main university town. And I was just walking along the street and I happened upon this cute little display with a no face sitting behind a bar drinking some beer and looking like he was getting ready to cook some fish. And so my daughter said, "Mommy, let's check it out." You go inside the restaurant through the big cat bus mouth, and they serve a really inexpensive plate of Japanese food. Actually, they have lots of dishes, but I got the set menu, which was really delicious. And because it's a university town, everything here is so cheap. Now let's talk about the next movie, Kiki's Delivery Service. Do you guys remember this cute little bakery where Kiki first went to live after she left her parents' house? I found the most adorable replica of this bakery at the Studio Ghibli store in Seoul, Korea. And the fun thing about it is that you can actually go inside. On the bottom floor they have the bakery, which is kind of part of the store. They just sell some merchandise in there, and they have like a replica of some bread and things like that. But upstairs you can visit Kiki's bedroom. If you guys have seen this movie, then leave a comment below and let me know what you thought. And actually, let me know what your favorite Studio Ghibli movie is in the comments. I thought that Kiki's Delivery Service was a really great movie for my kids to watch because it's not scary, it's very pleasant, and it's not as dark as some of the other movies, but it still has a good message. Isn't this little space adorable? I think that my kids would love to come up here and play if it was possible, but no, this is just, you know, a display and you're only supposed to look and not touch any of the things, understandably. So I'm just adding some footage here of an exhibition that I visited in the Mori Tower in Tokyo, and they have an art museum here and a tower where you can go to the top. They had a temporary exhibition of some Studio Ghibli stuff, and that's where I got on the cat bus, which I showed you guys earlier. But these are some replicas from the movie Castle in the Sky. It was just this massive ship that was in a room that had other airships, and the main ship could light up, and it also moved up and down on top of a little replica of a village. Actually, this exhibition had a lot of different parts to it. There were some drawings and artwork, and there's also a room that had a little statue of the character from Ponyo, which I think is one of the cutest Studio Ghibli movies. So one thing that I'm not including in this video is a video of the Ghibli Museum at Mitaka, and that's because you're not allowed to film inside. So this next place is not an official Studio Ghibli location, but it is inspired by the Ghibli movies. This is a place called the Mizuno Treehouse Cafe in Korea, and it's in the countryside of Korea, really in the middle of nowhere. But this is owned by a couple, and the mom is Japanese, the dad is Korean, and they have a lot of kids, and they built this cute little cafe, and it's actually their home. So they open up their home to the public, and you can come inside, and a lot of the inspiration behind their home is the Studio Ghibli movies. So it just feels kind of magical. It's in a very rural area. They're surrounded by nature. They have the most amazing garden, and this is their home. Isn't this adorable? We were on a road trip driving down the coast of Korea, and we decided to just stop by, and the owners were so friendly. They allowed us to go all over their house. It is a cafe, so they do have a little menu with some onigiri, which are my favorite, and they also had a couple of desserts and drinks. It's just such a fun, homey place, and everything was really adorable. And even though it's not like an official Ghibli place, if you're in Korea and you happen to be driving down the west coast, then you might want to consider stopping by and checking this place out. This is a cute little store that I saw at Konkuk University at this place called Common Ground, which is kind of like a shopping center that has a bunch of different stores. And this was a little place that sold mini gardens, which were basically these little bottles that had a green fuzzy thing that is alive, and it's called a marimo. And then you can make your own little cute scenes, or you could buy a pre-made one. And so if you're wondering why I'm including this in the Studio Ghibli movie, they had a lot of cute little Ghibli figures like Totoro and Ponyo, and there's some Spirited Away stuff too, I think. And they just put in these colorful aquarium rocks with a little minifigure and a marimo plant. And I just thought these were the cutest things ever. They're so colorful, and I would really like to have one of these at home. And they also had some with air plants in them, so you can just, you know, set up your little minifigures with your plants, and I think it makes for a really cute decoration in your house. This was the DIY area, so they had all these little figures to choose from and some colored rocks, and then these pretty little glass bottles. So it was just so fun and cute. Here's another random Ghibli thing that I got in Japan. This is a Uno set which has a Totoro theme. So how cute is this? They have a lot of the characters from the movie and a few scenes. I wish they would have had a little bit more of the landscape scenes because I think it would be fun to try to paint those with watercolors. So I did do the one where Totoro's walking through the forest, but a lot of these are more pictures of the people from the movie. And then I found this other footage, which is from a So Kawaii box. They gave me some Kikis delivery service items, like this cute little individual picnic mat, which you can take outside. And then they also gave me a set of playing cards, which have Kikis delivery service scenes on them. And I thought that this was really adorable. As you can see, the scenes from these cards are a little bit more varied than the Totoro Uno cards, and they have a few more landscapes and scenery scenes. So I really like these. I think they're so cute. So when we lived in Japan, we played a lot of Japanese UFO catcher. This was our my husband and I's hobby. At first, when I moved to Japan, I thought these were impossible to win at, but then once I won my very first large plush, which I remember it was one of those kirimi or the Sanrio salmon character. I don't know if they still make that character, but it's a salmon that has a face on it, and I won a giant kirimi plush. So after that, we got hooked and we started to play UFO catchers all the time, and this was one of the harder things that I've ever won, but we did end up winning multiple Totoro characters, and we probably spent a small fortune on this. Maybe it would have been cheaper to buy it in the store, but it was still really fun to win these. Anyway, you can watch till the end to find out which plush toys we actually won, and I hope you enjoyed this. As always, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to my Patreons and channel members. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.